So today you might remember that we were doing ZBrush last week, and I was telling you guys to just sculpt up like either a head or a bust or something that you can sort of just look at and be like, yeah, okay, I made this. Because I just want you guys to get used to those brushes inside there. So I'll show you, because mine has the head, the hair. I'm working on this on my off time, but I'll show you how to get this over in to Maya. So now this is that same character. I didn't bring over the armor and stuff yet. I didn't want to render that out, and I just have some weird lumpy hair, but that's fine, you know. So I'm bringing that all over to Maya, and then we render it out with lights and save that image, and it's pretty fun, pretty nice process. So I will do this alongside all you guys. And so for your question of what we're turning in, Rachel, is basically just the image. So at the end of this little section, you'll be left with a nice little image of your character or your bust or whatever you sculpted, and you'll be able to just turn that into beach board. And that's so that way it's a lot easier for me to grade too, because I don't have to download each file, open up each file, look at the project inside ZBrush. I can just look at this image and be like, boom, there we go, they did it. But there's a few just button clicky stuff. It's nothing crazy though, nothing crazy. Last class is a lot more busy in terms of information that you're kind of getting. The only thing here that's new will be pretty much Arnold and lights. Did we do light? No, I don't think we did yet. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so everyone, pop open some ZBrush. Pop open ZBrush and get your character. Someone asked why my character is so shiny. That's because I was using a different material to sculpt, and you can always change that over here on this left side. So
Mike, I had a quick question.
Yeah, what's up?
When I zoom out in ZBrush, it kind of like crop. There's this weird crop, like the screen kind of crop. How do I?
You might be try some of these, like these buttons over here.
Okay, actual size.
Yeah, try that.
It just zooms it in.
Just zooms it in.
Yeah.
So you're saying this actual panel is like smaller?
So like here, I'll pop it. I don't want to take too much time. I'm just gonna pop it into Discord. It's doing this.
It's doing that. That's when you zoom in and out. You're saying.
Right.
Weird.
It's not letting me see the whole sphere. It's just letting me see.
Yeah, that's that. Wasn't it the same problem that
I had that problem.
Yeah, yeah. What did you do to fix it?
So you have to zoom out on that little square, so your figure has to be really small, and then you have to hit actual, and then it like resizes it.
Okay. So
I think that's
first zoom out like this, and then hit the actual button. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Does that work for you, Rodney?
It's still kind of it's still like
are you zooming out enough to see? Because I'm there's basically another square within that, like you see here.
I actually had this problem too.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I touched those buttons you were talking about, but the ones on the bottom, there's the three that move the perspective at the top, and that kind of moves the window. But the ones at the bottom, it also says move, zoom, and rotate. If you press those ones on the side, that actually moves within the frame.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would suggest going back to zooming in into the window and then going to the 3 at the bottom to actually move it.
Okay, okay, okay.
Is that working? I hope it
It's
is.
it's working. Yeah,
Sweet.
I can see more of it. Yeah.
All right, so we need to work on shipping this over to Maya, right? So you have your sculpt, whatever you got in your scene. Doesn't have to be anything extravagant. And if you're working with multiple subtools, remember subtools are just like another mesh in the scene that you can go to. If you're working with multiple subtools, you're going to want to select the main one, like the one that's the head. And my case, that's this one right here. And I want to get this over to Maya first, right? So what we do is we select that subtool right there and click Export Tool. So you export that and put it in some sort of folder that like is going to work for you, you know. So I'll do mine in my class folder.
What if we had it saved like on the desktop?
That's fine. Yeah, just open up that file and then you can just export it to wherever you want.
Okay, thank you.
What did you click on to export just the subtool again?
Yeah. 1 second. Let me do this. And there we go. So the export button. Sorry, sometimes it takes a while to write the OBJ. The export button is in the top right here.
Oh, all right.
So it's in your tool panel. It's where a lot of your main tool operations are located. So you just export that. And then, unfortunately, you'll probably have to have both Maya and Zbrush open. Unless you want to just export out everything at once, which is also possible. So if I was going to do that, I could just click on my hair and then export tool. And just do hair. And you can do a bunch of different formats, but I like to keep it as OBJ. OBJs are basically the JPEG of 3D. Like it's the most basic 3D file. It will lose information like bones and stuff once we do like rigging, but it will keep your mesh clean and the UVs. So, but you guys don't need to know what UVs are yet, but just know that I'm exporting OBJs for this, .objs. So I do the hair, and then I can do the eyebrows, export eyebrows. And you don't have to have multiple subtools like I do. I would have liked for you guys to get a little bit used to subtools. Because it's nice for isolating certain parts. Like notice how like the hair, like it'd be a little bit annoying to keep this as one piece, you know, since like the hair is kind of just separate from the body, you know. Same with the eyes, right? Like the eyes work better as a separate subtool. So I just wanted you guys to get a little bit familiar with that. And we could export those as well, or we can make them in Maya, either one. I might just make them in Maya just to reiterate some modeling. It's nothing crazy though. So let me open up a new scene. I'm just going to save my media scene. Let's go to file. I'm gonna make a new scene, right? So now I have a blank scene, nothing in it at all. first step is File, Import. And I'm just going to import that. Let me navigate to that folder. It's in my course materials. Is anyone having any issues exporting from ZBrush before we move on?
I just have a quick question, Mike.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my ZBrush is on my Cintiq tablet and my Maya is on my PC. So
Aw.
yeah, they're in two separate things. But just like when I see you're exporting as an object file, it's okay to send over like email or anything. It won't like mess with it, or
Yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah.
okay.
It was like, because JPEG, I said they're like the JPEG of 3D, but JPEGs are like lossy. Like every time you make a JPEG, it kind of compresses it.
Right.
OBJs don't lose any information for like the vertex places, which is like the mesh, right? And the UVs, which is used for texturing, and we haven't gotten there yet. But
Okay.
so for this stuff, it's completely fine. But if you're going to try to export like a rig as a .obj, that would not work. It just doesn't have the supports for that kind of stuff in there.
Is .obj specifically only for sculpting?
No,
Or-
it's only for meshes. So
Meshes,
if
okay.
if you're sending meshes anywhere, then OBJ is probably what you're looking for.
Okay, thank you.
Wait, so we have to export each of those like
The
the
subtools.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be best.
Okay.
So yeah, I went down my list. I know the main pieces, right? I just exported the face, the eyebrows, and the hair. So I got those 3 exported. Anything happened yet? Oh, did you just join, Victor? Yeah, we're exporting our homework basically. I'm showing you guys how to render up your homework. So yeah, at the end of, well, like you could do this over the weekend or something. I like them by Saturday. I know it says that they're due today, but the whole presentation sort of kind of threw a wrench into things. But it was a worthwhile wrench to get thrown into. But yeah, so basically, Victor, the short and sweet of it is basically you go to your subtool menu. Make sure you have whatever you want to export selected. In my case, I was doing the face, the eyebrows, and the hair. So when you have the face selected, you hit export, and that's going to give you a folder with. It's going to give you a folder, and you're going to export as a .obj. Whenever I export an OBJ file, a MTL file will pop out too. Can I delete the MTL files? Yeah, you should be good. I think that's for shader data, and we're just going to overwrite that anyways in a little bit. So. No problem. All right, so over in Maya, now I can import came out into Maya with some black spots. Interesting. So over in Maya, we're gonna import. Again, that's just file import. ZBrush not responding. Yeah, it just give it a second. Don't like force close it or anything. If it started doing that during the export process, because it takes a while to write. I mean, think about it. We had like sometimes maybe a million verts in the scene. It takes a while for the computer to write down a million different vertex positions in space and their proper order. So it definitely could take some time. Much to think about. Yeah, yeah, that's much to think about for anyone. Keely, what kind of black spots are you talking about? Could you send like a screenshot in Discord?
Yeah, just stuff where it's like, it seems like. Sorry, I just looked at Rodney's picture. Or like little icon in the participants list. Just like it's inside out.
Oh, interesting. It
But
could.
only in like one spot.
It's probably. Is it like a thin piece?
Yeah.
somewhat? Okay. Yeah. So basically, over in ZBrush, what you have is, if you're looking at my hands on screen, if these are like the outsides of your mesh, right? And then you have one that's kind of pushing through the other. Remember how these are only single-sided, right? That's going to show up as black. So you'd have to go back into ZBrush if you're going to fix this the traditional way. You have to go in and sort of push out on those faces to make them not kind of clipping through each other. In Maya, you could go to, one second, let me import this head real quick. Import. You could do, one second, I need my Maya to be responding to me. There we go, got the head in there. You could go to, where is it? Lighting over here, and two-sided lighting. Tell me if that fixes it. Oh, nice. Oh yeah.
Works.
Hell yeah. I'll just give a visualization for everyone at home that's not dealing with this. So we have some of these like scuffed faces from when I ran a Dynamesh on this. And Keely was probably experiencing this across their entire model, or just that really thin part where it's kind of clipping through. Shading, lighting, two-sided lighting, basically doesn't worry about the inside and the outside of the mesh anymore. You know, so right now my camera's inside the mesh, and if I turn that off, you see it's just dark. But if you turn on two-sided lighting, then yeah, right there, very nice. Okay, so we've got our face in the scene. I can't even open Maya. Oh, what the hell? Kendall, I get that problem. Like it pops coming up like I don't have the app anymore. See, Kendall, I have the problem sometimes when I close Maya, and if I try to open it again, it just doesn't do anything. It'll open up like an output window, the thing that it normally does when you start to load, but that one like splash image of like, oh, Maya, cool stuff doesn't come up. I have to restart my computer whenever that happens, and then it works. So I don't know. It's kind of a caveman sort of solution to that, but that's what I do. I'm sure there's some sort of computer shit going on behind the scenes that I don't know about, but yeah, that's like I would just wait then. For sure. Nothing happens when I click. Yeah. I don't know. Maya's mysterious. I think you might. Are you on PC or Mac, Kendall?
I'm on a Mac.
Interesting.
And I have like the icon at the bottom corner, and I click on it and nothing happens. And then so it's like, oh, okay, I'll just open the files that I have saved. And then I sent in a picture in the Discord that it like says it can't open. Yeah, like whatever it says.
It's not open anymore. Weird.
Yeah, so
yeah.
I'll just wait, and I'll probably just restart my computer after class and see if it helps.
That'd be a restart for sure. Well, can you open ZBrush? Because after we render out our stuff, I was gonna just do a little bit of ZBrush stuff to cap off.
Yeah, I already have like both of the parts of it exported. I was just like unable to put it in Maya.
Hell yeah. Oh man, look at this. Hell yeah. Frick yeah, my dudes. Look at this. Look at what we got going on. So we have a few more steps. I'm gonna just do this on the head only, and then I'll bring in some more features. But again, if you only have one, that's like if you were just only doing your sculpt on one piece, then that's fine as well. But yeah, so first things first, I'm just going to open up Arnold, right? So Arnold will be this little button at the top. Does anyone not have this button?
Yeah, I don't have that.
Who's that, Victor?
Yeah.
Can't read what it is. It's Arnold. It's Arnold. Arnold. So if you don't
It's right
have
next
that
to
button,
help, right?
yeah, it should be.
Okay.
Okay, so some people don't have it. If you go to Windows, because Arnold's a plugin, right? It's like an external piece of software that Maya then bought, but then it exists as a plugin now that you have to import into the scene. So go to Windows. This is for everyone that doesn't have Arnold on their little bar up here. Go to Windows, Settings and Preferences, Plugin Manager. So make sure if you have Arnold up there, you don't need to do this step. If you don't have Arnold up there, you'll need to load the plugin. So Windows, Settings and Preferences, Plugin Manager. Now it's not called Arnold in this list, and it's enraging that it is not. Where is it? Let's find it. I believe it's called, yeah, MTOA.MLL. You're looking for this. On a Mac, it'll be MTOA.bundle. On PC, it'll be MTOA.MLL. And there's no reason for that. I'm just going to type this into MTOA.MLL, or just typing this into chat. And .bundle. Boom. So for those of you that didn't have Arnold up here, let me know if you have this or not. Sophia, you could go to, this might have been when you guys installed Maya. Well, yeah, to find that name, you have to keep on scrolling. Yeah, so if it's not in, like, I scrolled pretty far down this list. Like it's also in its own category down here, where you can see like the extension, it says Arnold in the name. I searched for it and it doesn't show up. Yeah, let's see if that search function works. Yeah, it should. It should. Sophia, are you on? Sophia, Kendall, and Victor, are you on Macs? PC. Okay, so that might be during the installation process. You might have had some sort of issue with that. You might have, because like when you're installing Maya, it's like, hey, do you want to bring in Bifrost? Do you want to bring in Arnold? Do you want to bring all this stuff in? And then if you unclick that and only installed Maya, then you don't have this plugin. So you'll need to go to the Autodesk website. There's an option in installation for installing other stuff. Yeah, be right back, poggers. So yeah, you'll just have to watch along and then install the plugin after class sometime and turn it in.
Real quick, how do you export from ZBrush again?
Yeah, so you just go into ZBrush and you click your whatever you're going to be exporting, whichever subtool in there, and then you go to Tool and click Export.
Cool.
There you go. And Sarah links to Arnold. Let's see if this is a standalone sort of thing. Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Very nice, very nice. But yeah, so for everyone that does have Arnold, I'm just going to keep it short and quick. Arnold's basically a rendering engine inside Maya. So rendering, for those of you who don't know, is like when you put lights in the scene and you shoot rays of light through the entire scene, every object in there, and it actually gets like pretty much scientifically correct lighting across everything. You know how we've been, like as artists, we're dealing with like the core shadow and stuff, and like the reflected light. It basically is doing all that for us in a way that's very like accurate with the real world. It's actually shooting out individual rays and writing that information into an image. You're telling me Maya has ray tracing? Yep. Maya had ray tracing before it was even cool. Because ray tracing takes a while. You'll see how long it takes to make one image in here. That's why video games are like, it's kind of crazy that they do ray tracing at 60 frames a second. And so they're definitely cheating some stuff for that. But let's do this in Maya. So if you have the Arnold plugin, then you'll be good to go. You can just go to Arnold right here. And let's go, before opening Arnold Render View, let's create a light. And we're going to create an area light. Let's go to Lights, Area Light. Because right, if you try to render out something without lights, there's no lights to even bounce off anything. It'll just be dark. And the light comes in like this. We can scale it up. Basically, think of this as one of those really big kind of box lights on a photography studio set. You know, they have that, like it emits that sort of kind of nice sort of like diffusing light rather than coming from like one point and getting really harsh shadows on things. It's kind of spread out. So think of it, this light as that.
Where did you find that again?
That's in Arnold. Arnold lights right there. And this one that I'm messing around with is area light.
Okay, thank you.
What's that one right there? Yeah, no problem. Now the thing with area lights is that they're kind of weak. In fact, all Arnold lights are pretty. They like if we render this out right now, it'd be a very dark scene still. So whenever I bring a light into my scenes, I immediately click on that light, and I'm going to where we find all of our attributes, right, guys? I'm going to go to the attribute editor. Attribute editor should be on the right side of your screen over here. And we're going to mess around with the intensity and exposure. There's a lot of other super nifty things in here, but I'm not going to go into that. These are some extra ones to play around with, but what we're looking at is mostly intensity and exposure, and we can mess around with the color too, you know. We can mess around with that. But I immediately crank exposure up to 10 every time. And you can drag on that bar a little bit, but it maxes out at, I think, 5. So I always just click on this box and I put 10 into exposure. Again, that's just because lights are the Arnold lights, or just the lights in general, are kind of weak. They need to be punched up a little bit. And
How did you get that box again?
which box?
Where you put the 10?
Oh, that's in the attribute editor.
Oh, okay.
Right
Got
there.
it.
And yeah, so it'll be in your attributes at the very top of the list, pretty much. It's like color, intensity, and exposure. That's mostly what we're concerned with. And these area lights, you can see where they're pointing. It's this little stick that's popping out. So if I point this down at my character, it's going to sort of be pointing directly at them. Would be a nice key light there. If I go to Arnold now, we should be ready to open up Arnold Render View. Now my computer is going to slow down. My computer's going to go very slow when I run this. So be prepared for that. This is my last render. What we can do is, as soon as you open this, when you have a light in the scene, in order to start seeing what that render is going to look like, you can press this little red triangle button. Now this does take a lot of processing power. So I'm letting you guys know that your computers might go slow with this as well. So we're going to press play on here. And wow, okay, there we go. So you can see intensity, or I mean exposure up to 10. That was a little bit too much in this scenario. So we can dial this back to something a little bit more manageable. Let's do something like, yeah, 6 looks pretty good. And there we go. And you can probably hear my computer sounding like an engine in the background. But I'm going to move this around. So now you can see that render view is updating with my current camera. And it's just fun to play around
Mike?
with this, you know. What's up?
How would we get to the camera? What you're looking at right now?
Oh, okay, yeah. That's the Arnold render view. Let me close out of this. So if you go to Arnold, because we're rendering everything with Arnold, we're using Arnold lights, all this stuff, you know. So Arnold, and then open Arnold render view. Right there. And then you'll see this. You'll see this sort of black box pop up on your end. It might take a little bit to load for the first time, because I know on if you've never opened Arnold before, the Arnold has to like look through your computer and link up to like the CPU or the GPU, depending on like what it's rendering with. Pooter angry. True.
I
Definitely
opened
true.
Arnold's render view and mine looks like blurry. Like it looks really intense.
Is your light super intense, or because remember when I brought mine in, it was like, let me press play on this. Not blurry so much as like, is it like blown out like this? Okay, so yeah, click on your, so that's the light that's doing that, right?
Oh.
So drag down that exposure on that light, and mine was looking good at around 6, so I'm going to bring it down to that.
Okay.
I know also that when I move the camera like around in Maya, like the render window like gets very pixelated to keep up with what's moving.
Absolutely.
And then after that.
Yeah, so I'll zoom in on this so you guys can see it on my end too. So if I move this around, notice how this is actually Arnold shooting the rays of light at your object, right? So it's shooting each individual ray. At the start, it's like, I just need to get the base color of that. So it's shooting a lot of rays all over it. And then it gets back in with more minute rays. And you can see that the render gets more detailed as it goes on. And if you look closely at this, you're like, man, Mike, that's fuzzy as hell. Like, how are you gonna ship a product like that? And well, the thing is that when you're going for your final render, for like your final reel and stuff, what you're gonna do is crank up the settings in Arnold to be like, hey, you're gonna shoot a lot more rays of light, a lot more samples on this, and then it's gonna get a lot more smoother, a lot more detailed. But yeah, so we have one light in the scene, And at this point, I usually like to present my stuff a little bit, you know, like, so I like to get a little cube in the scene. Anything that you do is, it's going to refresh Arnold, right? Because Arnold doesn't know that you put a cube in the scene. It's just like, hey, something's different with the scene. I need to re-render everything. So I usually press the stop button there, so I'm not rendering constantly, going really slow, you know. And I just like to set things up on a little cube. Y'all know how to make cubes at this point. So, and I just put my whatever I'm rendering on that said cube. Also, I do like to go in and I like to create a few more lights, you know? So I could either go back into Arnold up here and create another area light, or I could just duplicate the one I have. I kind of want to give this a sort of rim light, right? So when we're looking at this character, I kind of want to illuminate the back side of this. Notice how this sort of gets lost. This back silhouette gets lost in the darkness. So I just duplicated that light with Control D and just moved it over to the side, and then pointed it right at the model. I might even do it a little bit lower from the side, right there. And then let's just press play again, see what that starts looking like. Ooh, interesting. Okay. See that? So we're getting that nice little rim light in there. And I also like to go in. I remember we can always look at our attribute editor for this. When I click render view, only a black screen pops out. Yeah, so Tammy, whenever you start up your render view, it starts as a black screen if you haven't rendered anything yet. Tammy, do you have any lights in your scene? Because the most common problem is that your lights are either not strong enough or they're like inside the character, so they're not emitting light through there.
Yeah, I have a light.
You have light?
Yeah.
What's the exposure at on that light?
6.
Okay. Try cranking it up even higher. See if there's any sort of difference.
Okay.
And also make sure that you press the play button at the top right, because if you don't press this play button, then it's not going to render anything, and you'll still see just that black image.
Oh yeah, I didn't click on the play button.
Oh, that'll do it. But yeah, so with that play button running, then you can see my computer making me restart to install Arnold. I'll be right back. Oh, sounds good. Sounds good, Sophia. But yeah, so I like to play around with the color of this rim light, you know, because if we click on that light, we get our exposure and our intensity and stuff. So if I make this like a blue, we can really get some.
Hey. Camera on or off? It's off. It's closed. Look what I
No,
made.
it's on. It's on.
Rachel,
And
you're on
unmuted.
and
It's
you're
on, we
unmuted.
can hear you.
Yeah.
Don't do anything embarrassing.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's all good. It's all
Just
good.
just warning you so you don't have a faux pas.
Yeah, that was scary. Oh man.
You
Oh,
saved
man,
my
that's funny.
sister embarrassment.
Okay, that's good.
This has already happened to me once before.
Your poor
Not
sis.
as bad, but like still.
It's all good. I
man.
once accidentally posted a bank document in a Zoom chat.
Oh my gosh. You're just asking for trouble over there.
I got the number changed. I don't know how it happened. I guess my tablet was just sensitive. It just like detected my whole arm and it just dragged it.
It's like, here's your entire bank. Take all my money, please. My God, that's crazy.
That blue light's nice.
So yeah, you can definitely play around with these lights. You can also give this front one maybe there's like a little bit of a warm tone to it. can see as we do this. And you can get crazy with this stuff, you know. But yeah, so just have fun with it for homework. If you don't want a black background like this, you can always just, I like to create a little bit of a plane. So sorry, let me stop Arnold so it's not rendering constantly. I like to make a little plane right here and just scale that up. Let's make it a little bit big. And then I'm just double clicking that outside edge and using our good friend extrude. Then I'm pulling that up. There you go. Right there. So now if we bring this camera back into the scene, and then press play to render, you can see that you have a little bit of that fall off in there. I would go use a different sort of light for this as well. So I only showed you Arnold lights, right? But there's a lot of different lights in here. Physical sky is really cool. Let's see what happens when we click that into the scene. Updating Arnold's scene. And it's chugging a little bit. It's fine. There we go. So now there's a, it's hard to see because I have this, all the different sides of this covered up. So if I go in face mode, let me pause Maya, or pause Arnold, there we go. If I delete some of these faces, so now we have this. Now let's see what we got going on. Basically, it's like it's an actual kind of 3D sky that was put into the scene. You can really see it if I hide this object right there. So it has like a horizon line and everything just in the background. And it's using that kind of 3D sky to light our character. So if it does have that key light and that rim light that I put in. However, if I delete that, you can see that it's still lighting that scene up with that physical sky in the background. You can always click on that and up the intensity on that. So this is a perfectly fine way to render out. Terribly sorry for another question, but Maya's telling me that Arnold is not available for me and he's using another renderer instead. Yeah, something must be. Rodney, were you having issues with the Arnold plugin not existing up here?
It just showed me. Let's see. It just showed me that there was like a little pop up at the bottom saying like Arnold is currently not available. We're going to be using this renderer instead.
Interesting.
I went into the plugins, the what was it, the plugin manager, and I don't even see the thing that it's asking me to enable.
The MTOA, you don't have
yeah,
that
I don't
in there?
see it.
Try searching for it up here at the top as well.
MTOA. No, nothing.
Interesting. Okay, so wait, did you have Maya open the entire time that you're installing?
Installing what?
Arnold?
Oh, I wasn't installing Arnold.
Oh, so you didn't. So wait, but you do have this tab up here?
I do not have that tab, no.
Yeah, so you're gonna need to install Arnold. like that link that Sarah.
Oh, okay. My bad.
No, it's all good. Sophia, though, you installed Arnold and are still having issues, right? Everyone else can feel free to play around with just the lights. I was going to show a few more lights, but if you want to explore them yourselves, you can go to Create Lights. There's Directional Light and Point Light that I really like in this menu. Those two are really nice. So have fun with those. Start rendering out some images.
Real quick, how did you get like the color lights?
So those color lights those are the same lights that I had in the scene before. I just went to the attribute editor and changed their color. So instead of putting out white, that's now shooting out blue rays of light. So it's a pretty neat feature. It's having uninstall Maya to install Arnold. So you're basically reinstalling all of Maya. That honestly might be the most foolproof method if it wasn't working. Yeah, I had to do that too. Sophia, did that work for you? Or is it still installing and we are finding out? Yeah, because I just say that include all the plugins when you're installing it. There's like some that you won't need, like you won't need Bifrost, and you won't need what else is it? It tries to put some other weird stuff in there, but yeah, we definitely use Arnold. We got it now? Hell yeah. Okay. So just a fresh reinstall, no biggie. But yeah, so who else was having problems with that? We had Victor and Rodney. Let me know how it's going for you guys. Reinstall. So I want to make sure that everyone does just some test renders, because you guys are going to be rendering out your final films at the end of the class. And I just want to make sure everyone's capable of doing that. What is Bifrost? That is a crazy particle simulation and effects sort of plugin. So you can make flames, explosions, water, smoke, sand, all that kind of stuff with it. It is very complex though. This thing's got particles. Keely, it's got it all. It's got it all. But yeah, it's super sick. I was messing around with it over the weekend, but it's very complex. It's definitely outside of the scope of the class, unfortunately, but but it's super cool nonetheless. So, and like I'm saying, guys, like there's jobs in all of these different fields. So if you wanted to be an effects lord, then you can just open up Bifrost, get really good at it, make some nice, cool effects. I'd love to be an effects lord. What a dream. Yeah, so like if that's like your calling, then absolutely pursue it. That's why this class is kind of a sampler platter. Unfortunately, there's some things that we can't sample completely. Like I don't know effects at all. I've messed with that besides some just tinkering around, but yeah. Victor, are you running Zoom on your computer while trying to install it? Yeah, I'm curious to. Oh, okay, good. All right.
So I'm downloading Arnold, and it's asking me to create a solid angel profile. Am I on the wrong page?
Try logging in with your Maya, your Maya account.
Yeah, I did, and it said you are logging in for the first time with the Autodesk single sign-on. If you already have a solid angel profile, please log in using your previous details. Otherwise, you can create a new solid angel profile.
Did anyone else have that problem? Sophia, did you have to create a profile? I was not asked.
I'll try a third-party download.
When I did a fresh install of Maya, it asked if I wanted to put in plugins, and I said yes to everything. Yeah. That's the most foolproof method, because you're just like, yes, Maya. Take all of my space. put all the plugins in there. Are you on the download page or in Maya?
Download page. That's okay. I don't want to keep the class. I'll just try the third party options.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are having good luck with just reinstalling Maya and installing all the plugins with it. So I would recommend that as well. I don't want you to get some sort of scuffed version of Arnold, some like third party version. So yeah, I think it's your auto. Yeah, I thought it was just the Autodesk login as well. Weird. I don't know. Yeah, see if you can just use the same account info, because Maya bought Solid Angle, I think, or Autodesk bought Solid Angle, and then they mixed it together with Maya. So I think they're pretty related now, in terms of like the same accounts and stuff too.
Okay. I'll just try and figure it out.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. But yeah, so everyone can just mess around with our different different lights, different settings like this. Optionally, you can also color your model. So we've been messing around with just gray sculpts, right? And there's a really cheap way, and it allows me to talk about, it's kind of like the prelude to texturing. But we need to get, we can apply different materials to this head, right? And a material is not like, it's not like a material in the real world, or it kind of is, but this is purely about visuals when I'm talking about materials. Right now, this head has a default material, like the starting regular material that you bring into Maya, like whenever you create a cube and stuff. Like, look how it's the same color as the cube that I made, you know.
Sorry. Why would you?
Sorry, someone's unmuted. I'll just mute them real quick. But yeah, so everything starts with a default material. If I wanted to change that material though, and I want to change the material for this head, if I click on that head, then hold right click and assign new material. Everyone that has an object in their scene, I recommend you do this along with me. Oh, it's all good, Sophia. We got you. I'd like everyone to do this along with me, because I want you to get used to sort of applying materials to things, you know. So if we right click this and then assign new material. So just remember these key points: right click, assign new material, and we're looking for AI standard surface. AI standard surface. Boom. That's as standard surface. I cannot type. What we're looking for is AI standard surface. There we go. And you'll find that in the Arnold tab. Remember, we're using Arnold to render these out. So we should be using Arnold materials, ideally. Arnold can render other things, but these materials are intended to be used with Arnold. And they're really great. They're really top notch. And so you can find AI standard surface right there, right there. So again, before I do this, I'm just going to rehash. So select your object, right click, hold that, then go to assign new material, because we need to put a new material onto that object. We don't want the default material. Arnold AI standard surface. Boom. And there we go. You'll see that it immediately looks way different in the render view. And that's because it's just a different material, right? It's not that basic material we were using. And we don't have to get super detailed into this. You'll notice that mine's a lot shinier. Now shininess, I just want you to think shiny shininess equals roughness, right? So there's this roughness slider. It's in specular, because specularity also means shining. But we're just looking for roughness. And we can crank that up. And that means that that surface is going to become less shiny, right? Think about like what polishing does to an object. It makes it less rough. You take that coarse, really bumpy, porous surface material and you polish it down. It makes it really smooth, really, well, not as rough. It's exactly what's going on with that. And let's go into the regular color right here. So in your base, I'm just going to up that weight to 100. And I'm just going to give this sort of skin tone. Again, I'm very colorblind, so skin tone's pretty hard for me to get looking right. Also, my lights are kind of very vibrantly yellow. So that's also throwing it off. So I'm going to pause my render. And I'm gonna take out that volumetric sky that I was messing around with. So I'm just deleting that. You can either click on it in your viewport or in your outliner, as always. Don't forget your good friend, the outliner. And I'm going to create another light. I'll move this one further away. I'm going to up that exposure again, right? Because I always want that these new lights to come in with like around 10-ish exposure. And I'm going to re-enable my background.
Mike?
Yeah, what's up?
Where do we find the color?
Oh, for the lights?
Yes, and like for the model itself.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
On the skin, yeah.
Okay, so for the actual material, if you want to go back and change that, right, you have to change that material attribute, right? So it's going to be an attribute in the attribute editor. Again, the easiest way to find that is to hold right-click on the model and go to material attributes. Boom. And it might not pop this open because these are those options again immediately. So you might have to click around in this top thing. It might bring you to this. You might have to click over here. I've seen that before. Also, a lot of times you can just hold right click and then go to material attributes again. And I'll be like, oh, you wanted to go to that materials attribute. It's kind of lame, but it works. So we got that in there. And remember, your color is going to be in your base. Notice how there's color in like all these other channels too. We're only thinking about base color and specular roughness for how shiny it is. Just those two. Nothing else. So I'm going to press play. And my light is scorchingly bright. This person's definitely going to get a sunburn. And I'm just going to click on that light. See, I always like using my outliner to mess around with this stuff because it's a lot easier to see, you know. You can see like it has a little light icon. If you don't know where your outliner is, you can always find it in Windows. Outliner makes it really much more like you can deal with it a lot easier if you're using the outliner. So I'm gonna look at my area light here, and I'm gonna crank down that exposure, right? Because that exposure is what's blowing out this image. So let's crank that back. And it's a little bit too much.
Where can I find apply new material that's not in the click menu?
Like not the hold right click menu?
Yeah.
Well, one sec. My immediate question is, why do you hate the click menu? It's so fast.
Never mind, here it is. My computer was making some troubling noises when I tried to click that for some reason, but asking about it made it work.
Oh, weird. Well, Keely, if you're wondering where you can also find that, you'd go to Windows. I don't want to show this to everyone, but I might as well give you all a taste. If you were working in like a bigger production, you'd go to Windows, Rendering Editors, Hypershade Editor, and this basically shows a list of all your materials in the scene. And you can just middle click, drag that AI standard surface to something. So now this square has the skin shader on it. A little bit terrifying, but you know. But yeah, so that's how you do that. Otherwise, just so you know. And there's a lot of cool stuff. Later we'll open this up. Once you guys texture your characters, because if you have, like right now we just applied one shader to our scene, right? And you can see the render that it created. So I applied just an AI standard surface to this character's skin. But you might be thinking like, that's just like a flat color, right? And like evenly shiny. So what the cool thing about these materials is that for each of these little nodes right here, right? And this is that same thing that pops up in the attribute editor. And in fact, I'll just show it to you in there because I don't want people to get confused. So remember to find that again. To find the material again, you just hold a right click and then material attributes, and it will go to the material that's attached to that object. But the great thing about these little channels right here, because we've only messed with roughness and color and a little bit of weight. I dragged weight up to 1. But what we can do instead of just plugging a flat color into this is that we could eventually plug an image into that, right? So think about that. So instead of just having a flat color be in this channel that's on the object, imagine if you put an image in there, right? So then if you put like a crazy like spray paint, splattered paint, you'd have splattered paint coloring this character then, not just one color, right? And what that is texturing. So texturing is basically making a bunch of images that we plug into these channels that will color your character eventually. So when we have to do a little bit of setup for that, that's why the texturing section's like far off from this. But yeah, so once you set up your character properly, then we can bring this over into Substance, and then we'll be able to really easily make those textures. And then back in Maya, we'll be able to apply those textures into these channels, and it's going to be super sick. It's going to be super sick. But yeah, so just have fun with some rendering. Remember, if you want to apply a material, you just go into Object, click that object, hold right click, go to Material Attributes, and we're looking for, sorry, my bad. You're looking for Assign New Material if you're trying to overwrite that material on there. And we're looking for AI Standard Surface. That's how you get that on there. And if you're, I remember people were looking for the light color as well. Remember, this is all in the attributes, right? Because material attributes takes you to the attribute editor over here as well. And the attributes for that light are right in this color channel right there. So right there, intensity and exposure. That just controls how bright that light is. So yeah, mess around with that for let's go until 8:30 on that. So you guys can mess around there. Once you get something you like though, you're like, how do I turn this in, Mike? What we can do is just go up to in this same render view. Once it says it's done, You just go to File, Save Image, and then you'll be able to save that out. I'll do test render 2. And then put that on Beachboard, that image, and then you're good. You're good to go. Is anyone lost on that sort of process? I'm super fun going over that again.
Can I ask how you put the background for your sculpt, just so that I'm not shining lights in this black void again?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's see, let's close this. It's just essentially a little cube base right there. Then, yeah, I used a plane. You could do whatever you want for the background. Like if you want that sort of like I just made a plane. You could go to Create Polygon Primitive plane right here, and if you scale that up like this, you can either extrude up like with regular modeling tools, or you could go into the vertex editor and sort of pull this up, maybe even give it like a nice little ease in, you know, to get that like photograph or photography studio sort of back paper that they use.
Okay.
Any sort of option like that.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. But yeah, I'm gonna get some water, but I'm just gonna be waiting around answering questions because I'm sure that there's a few that was like a more button clicky sort of lesson. So I know there's a lot of buttons to remember there, but yeah, once I get back, I'll be down to answer any questions.
Does our class end at 8:45 today or later than that?
I think he went to get water. Ask him when he comes back.
I mean, do you guys know by chance?
Oh no.
Know of what?
I don't know.
Know of what?
How late the class is gonna go. I actually forgot what's our normal time.
I thought it was 9:45. I was surprised when it ended at 8:45.
It ends at 8:45 because we don't take a dinner break.
Oh, that's right. Of course.
What's up?
I was just wondering what time, like, is class still ending at 8:45 or are we going later because of the?
I'm probably gonna go a little bit later, yeah, because I just want to reiterate over just some ZBrush stuff because I want you guys to start leaping into modeling whatever you're gonna model.
How do I bring back the oh, hang on.
Keely, if your computer's running really slow with the rendering.
It's not. I'm just feeling emotional about her.
Oh.
How do I go back to the materials attributes like side menu?
Yeah, so if you click on the object and then hold right click and go to material attributes, boom, it'll pop up right there. If it doesn't, you might just have to do it twice. I've seen that bug in Maya where it doesn't open the first time you do it.
Or like the in the sidebar.
Like this?
No. Oh.
Mike,
Yeah, what's up?
for the attributes, how do you change the color of like the shadow? Because you can change the color of the lighting. Are you able to change the color of like the shadow? The shadows or something?
I think you might be able to. 1 second. Keely, if you're not able to find the attribute editor on that right side, you can always click this button up there. It's kind of hard to see. But yeah, that'll pop open your attribute editor again in case it got lost from this sidebar, you know.
This one just shows me like a mesh like cube shape, and then it has tessellation attributes, mesh component display. Like
it might be a different, are you in like a different tab?
here it is, different tab. It's in the standard surface tab and not the cube tab.
Yeah, that's the one. And then back to, was it Rachel asked another question? Someone had another question before I
yeah, I asked the question with the shadows.
Oh, the shadows. Yes. So let's see. Beep. Arnold, please. Oh no. Wait, is it this right here? Ah, there we go. All right, cool. So let me grab another light. So select whatever light you want to have shadowed color or colored shadows on, right? So click that light and then go to your attribute editor. And you see down here, you can control how strong those shadows are. And you can also control their color. So you can drag that around. Let's see if we can get some like red shadows or something. Might be trippy. There.
Edgy.
There we go. So now you can see the it's injecting like red into that shadow. So you can get some really wild effects. So did that work for you? Getting those colored shadows? I hope it did. If it didn't, let me know. All right, so just a couple more minutes on messing around with those. Feel free to post whatever cool renders you can get in the Discord as well. Oh, Keely's already on top of it.
Hey, Mike.
Oh yeah, what's up?
So I got to put whatever I have as my model into Maya, and I'm creating the lights, but I can't seem to get the second one to actually turn on. It's there on Maya, but when I go to look at it in the view thingy, it doesn't show up.
In which view? Like in this render view?
Yeah, in the render view window, it doesn't show up. It only shows the first light.
That's wild. So I've noticed that Arnold render view kind of gets sluggish sometimes when you're like creating lights while the scene's like running. So sometimes all it takes is to just close that and then restart, open Arnold render view again, and then press the play button again. Let me know if that works for you.
It's not. I've already tried to multiple times. I'm not sure how to get it to go.
you might have just really low intensity on that light. So check your intensity and exposure.
Okay. I'm sorry. Can you show me how to check the intensity and exposure for that?
Yeah. So click on the light that you want
Okay.
to mess around with. And then what you're looking for is, so let me turn off my render. What you're looking for is the attribute editor. It's on that right side of the screen over here. And it's also at the top. If you don't have that tab, you can always click this button at the top. It'll pop that open.
Okay.
And what's your intensity and exposure at on that light?
On that light, it says intensity is 1 and the exposure is 0.
Oh yeah, so exposure, you need to crank that up to around like 5 to see it really. And also feel free to crank up that intensity as well. So you can move both those values around. Exposure is basically a multiplier for intensity, just so you know.
It's still not showing up on my my little viewfinder, or is that?
Is it also pointing the correct direction, like it's pointing directly at the model? Because if you're like pointing off into space, then it's not going to light anything up.
Oh, I guess I should check that. Oh, maybe that's why.
And that's this little arrow, or this little like point that's going off the area light.
It's still not showing anything. I'm gonna try to delete this one and try to do that again.
Yeah, that also helps it. Yeah, I've noticed that the Arnold render view can sometimes be kind of like finicky on that stuff, where it's just like, oh, now you want me to use the light. It's like, yeah, that's what I was saying that the whole time, Arnold.
Arnold, come on.
Yeah, please.
Nope, it's not doing it.
Try closing the Arnold render view and doing that all over again. Get your intensity and exposure up on those lights too. There we go.
Mike, how do we export the image when we like it? When you like it?
Yeah. So what you're just going to do is go to File, Save Image, and that will save one for you. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You can see the two renders that I already output here. How do I exit the pop-up T in ZBrush? Pop-up T. Whole big flag. I don't know exactly what you mean pop-up T, Matt.
Or it's like I think the head is like hidden or something, or
pop-up T.
Or it's like the move topological, or no, not the brush. It's the I don't know. I hit a mode or something. It was like.
Are you like moving this? Like, does it look like this? Yeah.
No, it's more like the thing I was working with is just it's gone. But like when I was adding like a new shape or something, but like I start to look for it.
I don't know exactly what issue you're describing. Could you share your screen to me?
Okay.
Let me enable screen sharing for everyone. There we go. Multiple can share. Hell yeah. All right, so you should be good to share.
Sorry, I got to use the desktop for this.
Oh yeah, and your desktop audio is wacky.
Do you see the screen or?
No, I don't.
That's weird. I put it on Discord.
Oh, there. Okay,
Yeah.
I see. I
don't know what happened, but like it was like a mode or something, but
all right, so yeah, you're in draw mode. That's the problem.
okay.
So you can't really get out of that easily. What you need to do, oh my god. Well, I don't know where you brought your
Yeah.
Go to the all right, so on your, let me go back to Discord now. You like on the right side in your tool palette, you see where it says sphere brush.
Yeah.
Drag that all the way to the right. There we go. And then left click drag in there. Yeah. So just don't do that. Yeah. There you go.
Okay. All right. That's how it is. Okay.
And then immediately press edit, like I showed you before, instead of draw on the left. Yeah.
Okay.
So now you're able to sort of go over that.
Okay. All right.
Again.
Yeah.
That's an absolute classic issue in ZBrush. That will happen to everyone.
All right. Thanks then.
No problem.
Mike, now I have a question now that I've downloaded Arnold. I have it now. I imported what I made in ZBrush, and I can zoom in and out, but I can't rotate or anything like that.
In Maya?
Yeah.
What?
Did I need to like? So I'm like middle clicking, but it's not doing anything. I'm right clicking and it's not doing anything.
All right, so Alt left click drag is to rotate the camera.
Oh, that's what I forgot. Whoops, Alt. Yeah, that fixed. Okay, sorry.
Or Option on a Mac as well, in case there.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Is that Alt? Can you forget the art?
All right.
Hey, Mike, quick thing. Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm still working on my model from ZBrush, but I don't know how. I was like making a really good ear, and then I went to look at the other side, and I guess the symmetry turned off.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure how to get it back on. I clicked that little button on the side that says L and R symmetry, but it won't do it anymore. I feel like
right.
the buttons are on top of each other.
Oh, that's weird. L and R symmetry. Wait, you said in ZBrush, right? So
yeah, I'm bringing it back. I felt like asking you that question because I just had that problem yesterday. I just haven't had time to sit down and work on it yet.
Yeah, no, for sure. Let me show you how to get you. So you like the ear on one side, right? And it's a symmetrical model.
Yeah, so I was trying to do the ear and make it more realistic, and I was doing like a good job, and then I went to look at the other ear and it had left off where I began. I don't know how it.
Well, let me do something real quick. Append. I'm just going to give you a little bit of an example. So here I just have a new sphere in my scene, right? And by default, sorry, this is running really slow. I'm probably going to have to close Maya.
Are you trying to share your screen? Because I can.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm going to close Maya down because we don't need that anymore. We're going to go hop right back into ZBrush. But yeah, so share screen. Screen to, there we go. All right, so we have a sphere in the scene. And if I move one side of this, I love her hat. So if I mess with one side of this, right, this is no longer symmetrical. So imagine this as the side that has your ear, right? So you had this symmetrical shape, and then you made the ear on one side, and you're like, oh man, the symmetry was off that whole time. The way we can restore that symmetry is if we go to geometry, modify topology, and then mirror and weld. So watch what happens when I click this. Boom. So that restored the symmetry right there, but mine was on the wrong side, right? So it mirrored this side over to that side, right?
Okay.
So if yours is on the wrong side, what you do is go to deformation, mirror, like that. So see how it mirrored everything, and then geometry, and use that mirror and weld then. So that's how you can get it to be symmetrical again.
Your hat is so much better. Thank you.
Does that have to be on the left side, Mike? Or
I think for the mirror and weld, yeah.
okay, okay.
But I've noticed that if you leave one side empty, then it auto detects that, and then it mirrors it across there, I think.
Okay. Can you say that last part again if it's not on the wrong
Absolutely.
side? Yeah.
Absolutely. Let me just go back through the process. So if you want to mirror something over, and when you hit mirror and weld, it like erases it. You're like, oh man, it's mirroring the wrong side. So in order to flip that, we go to deformation right here. Really great UI, I swear. And mirror right there. So then it flips it across, and you're like, okay, so now when I mirror and weld, it's going to be looking at that, the proper side, you know.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No problem. And to make sure you're sculpting in symmetry after you do this, the hotkey is X. So you can click that, and you can get some nice symmetry. I believe you can also find that in your transform menu right here. Activate symmetry. When I move my scene around in Maya with the render running, it is lag city. Yeah, absolutely. It chugs. It chugs. What you can do is, now I'll show you that later because I already closed Maya, but you can go to the render settings and have it render at like 144p. So then it'll be like really pixelated, but it'll be fast. So it's a little bit of a trade-off, you know. Not great for like polishing lights and stuff. You have a Titan X? What the hell? And it was still struggling. Holy shit. Damn. Sarah has a maxed out computer over here. Gifted to me by a friend who worked in AI. Damn. Damn. I'm jealous.
I got a new graphics card last month. I got it used. The guy didn't mention that it has coil whine. So like if I'm playing a video game or doing something very intense like this, like my computer squeals.
Oh no, that's awful.
Which is like,
what the fuck? I'm sorry.
According to everything I know, I've looked up on the internet, that's okay if that happens, but it's really troubling when it does.
Yeah, that is definitely troubling. I'm sorry, dude. It's my raid buddy in Final Fantasy 14. What the hell? My raid buddies in WoW are never that cool.
Yeah, I was very lucky. he just was like, yeah, well, because I had 2 4K monitors, so
oh my god.
I know. And
you have the most ripped setup.
What is all that cake for?
Well, I mean, like when you're teaching and you're streaming and all this stuff, like it becomes kind of necessary. So it's like, okay.
Yeah,
so,
double monitor setup is
Very
pretty
helpful.
necessary. I don't know how I'd be able to look at Zoom and stream this stuff. And
yeah, for sure.
Wait, so do we turn this in on Dropbox?
yeah. Put the little image. Let's see. Let me.
Mike, as my pride as an artist, can I just give you a different one? I finished it, but it's like super ugly, just so that I can follow along. Okay, I'll make a better one tomorrow. Okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank
yeah.
you.
But yeah, let me find my images just so you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Do we have to turn in by today? Because you said Saturday, right?
No, yeah, do put it in there on Saturday. Because I want to hop into character creation in Zbrush.
Okay.
Even though it's most of the tools that you guys already know from that first kind of crash course. But yeah, the one I'm looking for is these renders that we did. So I did this one. Beep. So you just put that into Dropbox. Also, feel free to share it with the class if you're not feeling too self-conscious. Oh, Q's got even a shiny material on the dragon. Hell
Ooh,
yeah.
that looks sick.
There's a slider that says metalness on it, so I had to use it.
Yeah, made things as metal as possible. Oh, Susie has a great sculpt here.
Purple.
Thank
Awesome.
you. I like purple a lot.
Awesome. Squish of the Ocean. Every time I see, I don't know who Squish of the Ocean is, but every time I see that name, I don't know. Just, I don't know what to think. I think of like jellyfish or something. They're the squishes of the ocean. But yeah, this is awesome too. Look at that. Look at this. Man, fuck, this gets me so pumped, guys. It's so, because like we just go from like shitty, like this is a box, this is extrude, and then you can just go straight into this. Like, oh man, I like that we have a slider for metalness. Oh yeah. Metalness is actually, because how metal something is affects the way that like light bounces off of it. There's like some crazy science shit behind it, but yeah, so like if because we're going to be dealing with metalness later in the class, so if you have like a shield or like that's made of like iron but then like has like wooden struts across it, the wood struts will be 0 on metalness, but then the iron will be like max on that metalness. So it's basically like how metal is an object. It's weird, but yeah. Mike, you're still sitting in a Discord chat. I like my Discord chat. All right, fine, I'll leave it.
Okay, so I just want to see just one more time, just a quick run through of the Arnold thing. So I set a light source and then I opened up the renderer, but nothing's showing up. I don't know if I did anything wrong in the light.
Did you up the intensity on the light and the exposure on the light?
How would I do that?
So click on the light and then go to your attribute editor. I closed Maya, so it'll take me like a couple minutes to open it up again. But yeah, so you click on the light, so then you have it selected. And then on the right-hand side of your screen, you should see a bunch of tabs. And one of those will be the attribute editor.
I see that.
And then crank up that exposure to like 10 to make sure that that light's working.
You're talking about the intensity, right?
No, the exposure. Because the exposure
Okay.
is going to up that how bright that light is more than the intensity. The intensity is like basically it's like the light brightness is the intensity multiplied by the exposure. So they kind of multiply together. So I just up the exposure a lot.
Oh, cool maths. So at that point, I just open up the render view, or
Arnold, yeah, open and then go to like the Arnold tab up there and then open Arnold render view.
Okay.
And then press play on that. There's that little play button.
Oh, press play. Oh, okay.
In that window, and then it'll start rendering.
I'm ready to experience the lag with you guys.
Hell yeah.
Woo!
Hell yeah. I'm glad that you got it the Arnold plugin working now.
Yeah.
It's gonna be important. But yeah, it looks like everyone. Oh, man, this is so sick. I love. Oh, I hate the first 2 weeks of this class, but then I love. Oh man, I didn't see these ones.
Yes. I love that one.
I like the shiny material on there too. Very nice. Very nice.
Something that was nice that I noticed, Mike, about the shadows is that you guys can actually soften the shadows a little bit so it doesn't cut as hard onto the surface. So Yeah, so that's like a nice artistic touch if you want to do that.
Yeah, yeah. Are you talking about the scatter or so? What's that? What's that attribute?
Oh well, no, like when you were teaching us how to do colors to the shadows,
Mhm.
And then I noticed that if I just slightly softened it so it's not pure black, it
Oh,
made it,
oh, I see. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it made it a little bit nicer in,
little
in terms of just lighting it.
Also, if you're using a point light, because I showed those briefly, and like the actual edge of that shadow is a bit too hard, you can always affect it with there's a value called spread in there, so it'll make the like those hard lines a little bit softer too. So that's possible too. But this is just like basic rendering stuff. We're gonna go more in depth into that later in the semester.
Nice.
When you guys are doing like your reels and you're setting up your scenes. But yeah. All right, so back to character stuff. Let's open.
Just a quick little thing. My sorry, my
Rodney, you gotta let the class thrive here, Rodney.
Right.
What's up?
My the screen, the render view is entirely white.
You might have too much intensity on that light. It might be blowing out like the scene, so maybe crank back that exposure value a little bit.
Okay, so I'm just supposed to play with it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
No problem. All right, so we don't have much time left in class, less than an hour. So I just want to go over again quickly how to sort of get your characters represented in ZBrush. I will be checking in with you guys weekly, because like I kind of want to make sure that we're all staying at the same pace, because now we're gonna have deadlines, right? Like, so this homework is like pretty. It's only 5 points for each of these past homeworks we've done. That's the modeling obstacle course 1, obstacle course 2, and then this sculpt render. So they're low point value because it's a lot of stuff that we're rushing at you guys, but now we're going into the actual projects, right? So I want to make sure we're keeping a good pace on these. Let me check exactly how much time we have for this next section. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we basically have 3 class periods to get whatever we want to make done, right? So if you don't want to go for a full character and you just want to do like the head and like bust sort of like to the shoulder level, then that's fine with me. Just know that you wouldn't be able to animate that full character because you obviously don't have the body. Because there is a lot to learn in this course, you know, guys. So it's not like we can go big on everything. If you want to try the character, then I'm super down for you to do it. I'm super down. I also think you'll learn a lot, but it is going to be more of a struggle. But I think that's how you become good as an artist. Like you heard the Disney people, they're like, it just takes practice, time to do all this stuff, you know. So unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time for like revisions and stuff, but yeah, so I'll be checking in with you guys next class to make sure we're keeping good progress on this stuff. And I will be making a character alongside you guys. I'm gonna be making this sort of piratey rat sort of guy. My drawing, not the best, you know, could be better, but that's fine. This will work for our purposes. Let me pull up the other. What was that? Art one? No, so I need this one as well. There we go. So I have my side view and front view. Just making sure those kind of align. And obviously, so this is the character that I'm going to be making in the class. You guys can follow along. I'm going to go kind of speedily through this because we don't have much time in the class left, and I want to leave a lot of time for questions because I know you guys will run into something. But yeah, so I'm a big proponent. Always work from reference. Always have your reference open. You know, And I'll show you exactly how we can use that in ZBrush, you know. So I'm gonna make a new, I'm just gonna go to that default scene. Go to project. I'm just gonna open up that good old sphere. It's gonna ask if I want to save changes. No, good. I'm just gonna make sure I'm recording still. Okay. All right, so here we go. So we have this sphere, right? And I'm gonna be basically blocking out the whole character entirely with this sphere and my insert mesh primitives brush right here. IMM primitives. You might see IMM primitives H, that's half. Don't use that one, just do regular IMM primitives and you should be good. And in order to see your reference, right, in your scene, it's really easy, really simple. If we open up our reference in like a picture like this, and then leave it behind the ZBrush window, we can do see-through, this little see-through slider up here. And it's a little bit trippy because you see like the ZBrush UI fade in and out, but you can just straight up see through that to your reference. So you can just kind of align this with that. There's a more complex way, but it's very button clicky and I don't like it. So let me know if you want to see a different way of doing that. And I can show you later. But for now, I'm just going to, so this will be my face, right? So I'm just going to kind of put a little clay on there. And then I'm going to open up my see-through. Let's align this with that face. And then I'm going to use my move brush. It's going to be hard to see, but I'm using move topological. And I'm just going to kind of get a big brush here and sort of just use this to move around and line up with that drawing over there. There we go. All right, so that's in there. And then it doesn't look amazing, right? It doesn't look amazing, but we're just gonna be polishing a lot as we go on. But I want to start blocking in my shapes. So I'm going to go to my brush menu. I'm going to go to IMM primitives right here. And it'll pop these up at the top. I'll do an insert sphere right here. And whoops, Control Z that. So I'm going to do one for the neck right here. There we go. Then I'm going to use move topological again to sort of do this. And then I'm going to go to see-through mode. And let's get this aligned. And you can see kind of how I'm just matching my reference, right? This. And I have this other reference as well. So if you're looking for the width, you can bring this bad boy up and then do the see-through again on that. And sort of match that neck width. I'm just matching the width there. So now we have that, right? Now we can go back again. Sorry, my computer's running a little bit slow. Back to my primitives again. And we can just start kind of adding a bunch of these, right? So if I add this, and I'm just kind of guessing right here, right? Because I know the shape that I've been drawing out there. We can kind of just use big, broad strokes to sort of define the overall shape. He has like a sort of hunchback look in there. So I'm going to try to capture that as well. Let's turn up that see-through. We can just move this. 1 second. There we go. We can just move this into position. Make sure he's not getting too weird looking. I'm still thinking about anatomy. I'm thinking about that, how that rib cage sits in there. Got that kind of squat body. All right, and then if I was going to do the arms, let's look at the arms picture there. I'm going to align this better with the middle of my screen. There we go. I'm just going to turn on see-through a little bit. And I'm going to go to my primitives brush again. And let's just zoom out to where we match this. There we go. And I'm just going to make another, I'm making like basically the deltoid shape of this character.
When is this character due?
This will be due in 3 weeks.
Okay.
3 weeks. And remember, if you only want to do the bust, or if you want to do maybe like an environment instead, if you're really passionate about environment art, then go for it. I do think you learn a lot trying to do character though. And I think it's really cool when they turn out. Go. All right. Then back to, so notice how I'm just blocking out all the forms with just primitives, right? That's just the same method across the board, right? I'm not doing anything different. Just as soon as I get to a new big shape, I just make a new primitive, and then I scale it, or I just move it into shape. I'm just only using move topological and insert mesh primitives so far. Let's get this going along there. Oh man, Zbrush is dying. All right, we're still live. And it might be boring to mess around with this for so long, but the more you define and get these overall shapes to be clean and clear, the more your sculpt is going to benefit from it. Because if you have like wacky proportions on the start of a sculpt, like it's not going to turn out well. So the more time you spend in this phase, and you could even break it up into more like smaller pieces. Like I could do one for like the pecs. I could do an insert mesh primitives for like the pecs, and then kind of really figure out how that musculature sits in there, you know. Like so if you spend a lot of time in this phase, you will benefit from it. But yeah, let's see how that binds up in that elbow, the shoulder area. This deltoid is probably a bit too far forward. So if you want to go back and kind of mess around with these, notice how whenever you make a new one, it masks everything off. So if you want to change stuff that's masked off, then just Control left click drag outside. So again, if everything was masked, you can just Control left click drag off of the model and then unmasks everything. And there we go. So we can really sort of get some better shapes in here. Let's have this arm kind of go where it's intended. And remember, I'm just thinking about the body right now. Like I'm not thinking about clothes at all, because we can make clothes later. We don't have to make them right now. So, and that'll be a different process once we have this model sort of figured out. I might also go back and redo this head in different spheres just for more specificity there. Because I want to really describe the shape with those basic spheres. IMM primitives, if we go in here again, make some legs. I'm just going to break it down shape by shape. Always try to keep if you're going to go with this model and rig it at the end of the class or towards the end of the class, make sure that you keep your legs pointing as forward as you can, or like straight down, kind of planar as you can, because it'll be a lot easier to rig that way. There we go. So that's the quad to the knee. And I'm probably going to have to adjust these proportions because I haven't looked at my reference in a while. But I just want to get everything represented for you guys. There we go. Primitive again. There we go. We're just blocking that all out. And yeah, so that's pretty much the process. I would spend a good amount of time in this stage, guys. I would spend a while here trying to get everything sort of fixed up, ready to go. Once you get to a sort of good, decent level of everything being developed, like I would get my ears in there. I'd get all the big body parts sort of represented. My next step would be to, since this is all one subtool still, because we were just doing insert mesh, since this is all one subtool, we can simply go into geometry, Dynamesh, and let's see what it looks like with a Dynamesh resolution of 128. Boom. There we go. This might be a bit too detailed for our purposes. But now it's all one mesh, right? So Dynamesh went through and just sampled all of that, right? And it scanned that into geometry that we can now sculpt on. But again, I would spend a lot of time on that shape section. If you're doing just a bust, then you might not have to spend as much time for the general forms. But yeah, so then once you get it to here, you can just, I'm just going through with a smooth brush, smoothing out all these different points. And then you can just start sculpting. I always use my clay buildup with no alpha. And I start pulling on stuff, sort of redefining that musculature, make sure it works for us anatomically. Get some traps sculpted into there. Get that spine protruding, and always keep checking your reference. I know I didn't do much of that, but I'm just trying to go fast so we don't run out of time. But like we would have to, I would add for each one of those new shapes, I would keep going back to my sort of image and doing my transparency and seeing how well it matches, you know. Hey, wasn't too far off. Wasn't too far off. But yeah. So that's pretty much it for kind of making the base of these characters. My next step, because I imagine you guys are gonna put some time into these, is after you get your shapes really detailed out and sculpted, I would work on just getting like the appeal of the character to work, because like clearly this face, it looks more like a pig right now, you know. So always feel free to like look at your reference, and something that looks good in 2D might not translate super well into 3D, so you might have to do some adaptation. You might have to really work at these forms and find something that kind of looks good, you know. It might be a bit difficult. In fact, that is where a lot of the difficulty lies, I find, is in trying to capture like that appealing 3D shape that looks good from different camera angles, right? Because people are gonna, like, if this was a character in a film or something, like the camera's gonna be orbiting around this person at some point, you know. So they gotta look good from multiple angles. But yeah, so that's pretty much the general process. And I'd like to see, I'm gonna check in with you guys' progress next class. But yeah, so if anyone has any reference that they want to show me and get my thoughts on it, I'm not gonna be like, this looks like garbage, but like if the character's like a little bit complex or crazy or something, then I might be like, hey, might be best not to do this one, you know.
Can I just tell you my idea? I have some reference photos too, but
that'd be
I just
great.
think doing a tiger shark and like a remora swimming next to it.
Okay, wait, let me look up a tiger shark so I know what I'm thinking of.
I think I have a reference. Where did I put it?
How do you switch back from a and like work on a masked shape again?
Work on a masked shape?
Or just, it's like control click and then drag off of it or something?
Yeah. So
But what is that thing specifically?
that was it. I think you got it right. Yeah. So like if I have like this face masked right now, right? So if I wanted to work on something that was masked off, I'd need to take that mask away by doing control left click drag off the mesh, and then I can sculpt on it again. And but yeah, does that make sense, Keely? Or
give me a sec. There we go. Misinterpreted, drag off the mesh.
yeah, it's hard to describe. I don't know like a better way to phrase that, right? Because like drag off the mesh means like, would you start on the mesh and then drag away from it? But
that's what I was doing.
I mean, just like left click drag in this void out here, not in like a UI menu either, but just in the void. But yeah, be careful about the dynameshing step, guys, because if you have, like, if my legs were closer together here, I could potentially accidentally fuse these. So if your limbs are close, let me just give you a little bit of a sampler. So if your legs were super close over here, and then you did dynamesh, see how it connected those a little bit? Especially in places like the fingers, it'll do that a lot. So in order to fix that, we just have to use a higher dynamesh resolution, like something like 280 or something. We just have to go up in resolution, and look how much more detailed this sculpt is. So we're sculpting without the clothing. Yeah. Tackle the body first, guys. If you're doing a full character, tackle the body first. Absolutely tackle the body first. I'll give you a glimpse of what making the clothing. Oh no, it's auto saving. ZBrush, no. I mean, I suppose it's good that it does that, but there we go. So the way that we're gonna make the clothing is, let me move this back in. Because making the clothing is pretty simple. Actually, let me just undo this weirdness. But yeah, there we go, and there we go. Yeah. So the way we do the clothing, eventually. So if I were to give this guy some shorts, I would just mask off the entire bottom of this, and like there's clearly like no anatomy here, right? Like he doesn't have glutes, he doesn't have like the rib cage up here, he doesn't have like the abdomen, so like he needs a lot of work, right? So this is why we get the body to be looking pretty decent underneath, at least proportionally. So like you don't need to spend a bunch of time sculpting like, this is the belly button, this is the serratus, whatever, like those muscles and stuff. Like if a shirt's going to be covering that, I'm just doing this so I know that like my proportions and anatomy work in 3D, before we start making and committing to clothing. Oh my God. All right. Sorry, my computer's going really slow. There we go. So basically the way we're gonna make clothing is you mask off like the shape of the shorts, and then you're gonna use a tool called extract. But don't worry about this right now. If you're curious about it, you can always go back to this video. But I'm not gonna require that you guys have clothes on by next class. You can just have a nice body and head proportions. And then you'd go to extract and see how it makes some clothing for us. That's all we do. And then you click accept, and then we don't need clothes for next class. No. So you can just make sure your body proportions are in a good shape. Please wear clothes on the Zoom call though. It'd be very embarrassing and messed up if you did otherwise. But yeah, so then once you make those clothes, then you can just Z-remesh them bad boys. And I always like to do half. Z-remesh, and you'll see it will scan those. We're doing Z-remesh instead of dynamesh because it gives us better sculpting geometry. Dynamesh is really good for if you're combining objects together, you know. So then you get these Z remeshed together. I'm going to do another one at half again. And there we go. And then you just sculpt out on this. Get some nice pants in the scene. It's going to need some buns for sure. Let's give them that. So we have to finish the body before next class. Yeah, I'd like to. If you're doing the whole body though, if you're doing just a bust, just try to get as much, like as far along in that as you can. Because yeah, there's just this class definitely has a lot of just assignments, you know, and that's kind of just the nature of learning a whole new 3D like software, you know. Like I would ideally like to separate this out into a bunch of courses, like one for purely modeling, one for animation, and one for rigging. That's how I believe Fullerton does it. I don't think they have it all slammed into 2 classes. And that's what I would really like for this campus as well, but we simply don't have that option right now. So this is all we got. So let's make the most of it while we can.
Hey, Mike.
What's up?
I have 2 questions. So first one, so we're making up this this model, right? We're just drawing our own kind of model and then creating.
No, you can, if you have a concept that you want to yoink off the internet, that's fine by me. I'm not going to be like, this is unacceptable. Like I'm not teaching a design class, you know, like, so if you want to do your own character, that's fine. If you want to take someone else's character, then that's fine too. Just make sure that they're cool with it though. I think that'd be a little bit weird if you're just like taking their concept, you know, but yeah, so I'm not teaching a design class here, so I'm not going to require you guys to make your own character. But yeah, I'm just making sure you guys get the technical information about how you model these characters. So we just need a working design. Also, I've noticed that like if you're not passionate about design either, then like there's no reason to make your own, because there's people that are just like professionals at it, and you can just look at their designs and then kind of base your stuff off theirs.
Okay. Second question, is there a way to reset my tools?
Reset your tools in ZBrush?
In ZBrush, yeah, I can't get the symmetry to work anymore. And I just kind of turned ZBrush off, and I'm gonna open it back up tomorrow because it was kind of lagging.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, if your symmetry is not working, it might be in your transform menu right here. You see this? And then you might be on like symmetry Z or something. Because if I activate that, then instead of X, it's going to be looking at like the left and the right side of the model, and then that might not be working. So see how that red point is kind of just floating in space, that symmetry point. So make sure you're on the correct symmetry setting. Also, everyone make sure that you're sculpting in Z forward, right? So you see this blue axis on the ground, make sure that's pointing towards where your character is facing. So make sure your character faces that blue axis right there.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
And Mike, you said we had until Saturday for this like a practice run to turn in.
Yeah, but like,
okay.
Don't spend a lot of time on that. Like,
okay.
I'd prefer you to spend a lot of time on your modeling project in ZBrush.
Okay.
So yeah, that was just to get you to jump into ZBrush, get a little bit of a feel of the brushes, you know.
Yeah.
Nothing else really beyond that.
Okay.
A little bit of getting you used to Maya rendering as well. So that's the goal of that project. I'd much prefer you to focus on getting running on the modeling project, because we're going to start hitting some deadlines that are a little bit cramped.
All right.
So our model doesn't have to be a character; it can be anything.
It can be anything. What are you thinking of?
I sent to the Discord. It was that shark I
Oh,
mentioned.
hell yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that'll be cool. In fact, this one's a little bit more like simple in terms of shape, but it's a little bit more complex in terms of texturing. So you might want to move on to the texturing part of the class before us. That might be interesting. But yeah, this is absolutely fun.
Okay, cool.
A cube, Veronica, you bastard. I will not accept a cube for the modeling assignment. I will not. But yeah, I want to make sure that like everyone's keeping up with this, because we always run into sort of scheduling problems. Like some people fall behind, some people stay up to par. So that's why I kind of switched it up this semester, and I'm making it more modular. So I'd like to see everyone try to see their project throughout the whole timeline, but if you're falling too far behind and we get to the texturing part of the class, then I'll have a alternate assignment that you can do for that. But yeah, cube with the most stunningly realistic legs you've ever seen. That'd be amazing. Just has all of the the vascular veins running down it to like the individual hairs and pores. Original character, do not steal. What about Tom from Tom and Jerry shaped as a cube? Oh yeah, what does that look like again? I'm pulling it up.
I did it on the Discord.
Oh, you did? Hell yeah. Let's see it. God. All right. I mean, you're pushing the boundaries there, but there'd be you'd have to do some sculpting on the face. Oh, is this character too complex? No, I don't think so. I think this is fine. Like I'm down for you guys to go big too, you know, like if you're like really wanting to make some sort of composite, Jesus Christ. If you're wanting to make a character that's a little bit complex, then and you think you're capable of doing it, then I'm down for you to go for it. But yeah, I'm just making sure you guys have the other options, you know, stuff in case stuff goes awry. It's amazing. Chuck E. Cheese. Chuck E. Cheese was definitely terrifying back in the day. Oh my god. Mr. Clean. Hell yeah. Well, I'm just gonna in case you guys have questions, I'm just gonna hang out for the full class period because we did get cut in half basically. So I'll be sticking around for the next 15 minutes.
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, I have a question. You know how right now you only transferred the face? Would it be the same method by transferring the subdivisions in ZBrush?
What do you mean by transferring? Sorry.
When you export it and then put it to Maya or open it back in Maya?
Yeah, same exact workflow. So if I get that in position and then unmask everything, see my subtool menu. Right now, if I clicked export, it would export like pretty much the entire rat character, right?
Yeah.
And then I would have that in Maya. Does that answer the question or no?
I think so.
Nice. Noise.
Is that it for class today, Mike?
That's it. Yeah, I'm just sticking around until the end.
right.
If y'all need any help.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's a particularly buff mouse that you're working on.
Oh, hell yeah, he is.
You know, it reminds me of, well, I mean, it's not the same sculpt, but that one where it's the mouse knight that sign languages to you and you're playing in VR. You know that game I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Moss.
Oh, Moss. Okay, yeah,
Moss,
I do know.
there you go.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the ears, right? Because they made her so expressive.
They really did. They really,
Yeah.
the animation in that game is
It's
fucking
gorgeous.
beautiful.
I played like the first 2 levels. I can't figure out how to get the puzzle to work with my little remotes, but I'm just happy to be here because it's such a beautiful environment.
It
And
really
the
is.
character is so
Has so much appeal in it, right?
Yeah.
It really does. Yeah.
An amazing character. I'm eternally jealous of them.
It's really interesting how they kind of gave the main character the quivering quality that mice typically have, but like animated in a stylized way. If that makes sense. Because when
you mean like when they're kind of like nervous and like
like a very nervous energy.
Yeah.
Like consistently, but then you recognize that it's like super realistic. But then she's standing on her hind legs. And then you're like, wait wait a second. Yeah. She has like an arm guard and a sword, and it's a beautiful game. I wish I could play it, but I don't have a VR system, so.
Right, same. Yeah.
All right. Oh, anyway, I'm gonna head out, but thanks, Mike.
No problem. Sounds good.
Okay, take care.
You too. Yeah, so if anyone's having any issues with ZBrush or rendering out stuff in Maya as well, I can always pop open Maya again and look at that stuff too. So let me know. Let me know what you guys need to see.
Mike, I'm gonna go, but I'm just gonna show you my rat now.
Oh, are you gonna make them in ZBrush?
He's going to be exported directly into the program.
You should just scan him in real life. That's adorable.
I'm in love.
That's a mouse?
It's a rat.
Okay, yeah, I thought so. I was like, he seems too big for a mouse.
He's really big.
Look at him. Oh, he's a big boy.
Well, thank you for class.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how jealous I am.
Yeah, rats are great. They're amazing. Oh, look at them. They're so smart too.
That's a cutie pie.
That's not, wait 1 second.
Is that a dog?
Yeah, right? What is
Wait, that is a dog.
That is a dog.
This one's the cute one. This is the one everyone likes.
Oh.
Oh no, that's just mean.
Yeah, the other rat's like, wow, dude, I'm right here. Oh, such a nice baby. Such a nice
Those are
little baby
cutie
rat.
pies. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Oh man.
I'm not just seeing myself.
That's not a rat.
That's not a rat. But
Is that the renderer?
equally ravenous.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Mike, so what was it that you wanted us to turn in tonight?
I would like
I
you
was
to just,
confused about that.
finish up with the render, right? So
All right.
you saw how. Let me find it in my folders. Basically, for last class, I was like, let's sculpt a face or something similar to that. And then export that to Maya. And then put some lights in the scene and then render it out. So this would be my submission for that. But yeah, you could just render out your thing and then upload this to that Dropbox on Beachboard.
Oh, okay, the third Dropbox. I know what you're talking about. It was supposed to be like the homework, right?
Yeah, it's called like ZBrush, like mini
render
or something like that. Yeah. So
I'm still having trouble installing. Like once I uninstalled Autodesk, it seemed like it caused more problems. Now it's telling me, yeah, it's keeping like 2 apps on there that won't let me uninstall. It says that it's not like genuine, like I don't know, like my account's not good or something like that. I don't know what's going on.
Oh shit. Yeah. Is there a reinstall application that they click? Sometimes they have that.
I don't know. I was just trying to install everything and just redo it over again.
Yeah. Try, because you might not have to uninstall it first. Then, well, I mean, it sounds like you already did. But you could maybe just double click that. Like, when you downloaded Maya the first time, it gave you that little installer. Maybe you could just try to click in that one again, going through there.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do.
Okay.
Yeah, it was installing. Like it finished up, and then I tried to run it, and it told me that like it wasn't gonna let me run it because I had to uninstall it first.
Oh shit.
So I saw I had updates on there, so I thought, all right, I'll update it. And I tried to update it, and it just got stuck at like 33% and wouldn't do anything.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. So I had to like restart my computer.
Well, Rick, because you definitely need Maya to work. So try to get Maya to work. Do it, and let me know how that goes for you. You might have to contact like customer service or something, but I think you might be able to also download the like if you log into Autodesk.com, you could get that installer again, and try to install it from that.
Okay.
But yeah.
This is like a good program, but it's so like glitchy. Like I don't get that.
It's glitchy and bulky, so it's a little bit annoying. But I mean, it's all we got. It's all we got.
Like after the trial is done and like the class is over, I think I'm gonna start trying to get it going on what's the other one? Blender.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Blender.
Yeah, Blender's on the up and up. Yeah, so Blender might be more commonplace in the future simply because it's free, So
yeah,
I'm sure businesses are like, ooh, I don't have to pay my multi tens of thousands of dollars of Maya licenses per year if we just use Blender. Like,
yeah, because I'm sure like you could still make like a demo with Blender just the way you would Maya, right? If you're
pretty much, yeah,
for portfolios.
Pretty much.
Also, like spending like $600 for something that's gonna like crash half the time.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yes. Blender has a like grease pencil, which I don't really know anything about specifically, but I know it can do some really cool like 3D, 2D,
3D,
combo
2D stuff. Yeah.
Like if
Is
you've
that what
seen
it's for?
Worthy Kids.
Worthy
mentioned it
Kids.
during-
Worthy
I love
Kids
Worthy
exports are in grease
Yeah,
pencil,
somebody
which
mentioned
is
it during
nuts.
that Zoom meeting. I don't know who mentioned it, but I didn't know what that was.
Yeah, it's like it's basically 2D animation in 3D, and
How do they do that?
like, well, I don't know. It's like I haven't explored it really myself, so I can't speak to it, but I've seen results from it that look super sick. But yeah, also there's sculpting in Blender too, but it's not as good as ZBrush sculpting. Like ZBrush is just gonna be king for that, unfortunately. But
do you know if you can export with that in Blender?
yeah, you can definitely, like, Blender can read the OBJs that we export from ZBrush, so absolutely.
Oh, okay, cool.
Also, Substance Painter we're gonna get into in a little bit, and then that's a free program, and that's amazing for texturing. I'm excited once we get there as well.
That's just for textures. It's not for like same kind of things as ZBrush.
No, because like ZBrush is only for sculpting pretty much,
Sculpting.
you know.
Yeah.
And then Substance is only for texturing things.
Okay.
Which I briefly touched on this class, but we'll get more in depth with that as we go on. But yeah, in your own time, feel free to check out Blender. Like I've seen like each iteration of it gets way better, and it's kind of spooky, because it's like, damn, they might just take down Autodesk, you know. But you know,
I tried it out. I made I think like a donut.
Oh, did you follow the was it Blender Guru tutorial for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was the way he did it was pretty challenging. I feel like it's a lot different.
Oh,
than,
yeah.
Than Maya was.
Ah, okay. Because see, that's interesting, because I thought the way that I go through Maya might be a little bit confusing, because it's just so many tools on like the first and second day, you know.
For me, I actually did pretty good. Like just kind of guess, a lot of like guessing and just trial and error.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was pretty like a good like learning curve to it. It wasn't too bad.
Okay, that's good to know.
I tried Blender, and Blender was
Blender.
A lot. It's just a lot.
Also, like all the hotkeys are insanely different on Blender if you don't use their Maya preset. So then, like, I went into Blender
Maya
one
preset.
time. They
Yeah, I
do.
didn't know that.
Get wrecked.
So if you're like, I might hop over, then use their Maya hotkeys, and then you won't be too lost at all.
Blender like, pss, 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 pss. Come here, Maya user.
Yeah, right.
Speaking of, kind of, I know you said there was no late penalty for turning in the obstacle course.
Yeah, I just don't want you.
How far does that go?
Like, I'm not gonna penalize you guys on that, but like these next projects need to get done, and they're actually important. So like, don't sacrifice time on these projects, because they're worth, like, the modeling project that we're going to be turning in with like this character that I'm making. This is worth 20% of the grade, right?
Whew.
Those modeling projects are 5% each, you know?
Okay.
So
good to know.
Yeah, so definitely don't focus on those. Get them in at some point, but like, I don't want you falling behind on these projects that are actually important, you know.
Okay, I was trying to figure out most of it on my own, but I have one question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. When it came to the lights and Arnold, which of the lights did you pick?
I'll show you the collection of them. The main one was that Arnold area light. So that was that,
Oh,
that
okay.
first one that I used.
Gotcha. All right. I just wanted to mess with that more.
Yeah, feel free. I want you guys to experiment in the off time.
I have a question. So I used a pen tool to do subdivisions. How would I merge all of them so I could just export that one model?
So you used the append tool to get all your shapes in, you said?
Yeah, for the homework that's due technically Saturday now.
Okay. In order to get them merged, you can just go down to merge right here. You see that? And then you just do merge down until you merge all of like the ones that you want together.
Okay, nice.
And then just so you know, split is the opposite of merge. So if you have if you just merge down a bunch of tools, you can always just do split and it will re-split those apart.
And then after I export as an OBJ, how would I open it in Maya again?
So to open up an OBJ in Maya, one second, Maya's opening still. You just go to File, Import, and then import the OBJ. So you just go up to File, and then Import, and then navigate to your OBJ, and it will know what to do with it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Unexpected side effect of today, learned about simply creating a plane in Maya.
It was right next to Cube the whole time, just lurking there, waiting to be discovered. But yeah, there's a bunch of cool shapes that you can make in there too.
What if I can't find the file?
Oh, well, go back into ZBrush, and then when you click export, it'll show you like the last folder that you put it in. See that? So it just brought me to that.
I saved that on a desktop file, but even if I go towards that file, it doesn't pop up.
Oh, so that might be, so in Maya, make sure your files of type down here in your import is set to OBJ. Like if you're on Maya binary, it's not going to show you the OBJ file. So make sure you're on OBJ down here.
What if that's not an option?
Ooh, do all files then. So scroll to the bottom of that list of everything and then do all files and see if it's on there.
No, okay, I'm gonna try to save in a different folder then and see if that works.
If that doesn't, you might not have the OBJ plugin loaded. So you'd have to go into your Windows and load that.
Okay.
That's only for exporting though. I don't know. That might be weird.
Quick question, like how do you fix this issue where it's like, when I rotate, there's like all these clones of like the header.
Yeah, that's the same thing that you're running into. So you're turning on draw mode, it sounds like.
Ew.
There's got to be some sort of hotkey that you're pressing for that. I think it's T that turns that on.
So the active mesh is currently in 3D mode. Do you switch to 2.5D mode, or is it just?
So basically, I would just go to document.
Oh, just okay.
Document new, and then draw that in the scene again.
Okay.
Same solution we use for everything else.
I got a question for this happened earlier. If I exported like my character's like head from ZBrush to Maya, and he didn't have all like his eyes were missing. So what would make that happen?
So it's probably your subtools, right? So you had the eyes in a different subtool. So you'd have to export those separately as well. Or you could just do what I think it was Raphael was doing, where they merged down all of their subtools. So basically it's like merging layers in Photoshop. So just merge all those together. Yeah, and then export that. Object. Exactly. And then export that subtool.
The object was one of the objects was there. It was like the main shape of the head. And it wasn't letting me select it anymore. Like if I was trying to move things.
Weird. So that's a bit strange that it wasn't letting you select. You're saying in Maya, right?
No, this is in ZBrush before I exported it.
Oh, it wasn't letting you click on the subtool?
Yeah, like it was like the shape was missing it because I made all the things kind of separate first. And I think it was like the main shape of the head. It wasn't there. The eyes it would allow me to select the nose, the mouth, everything except like the main shape of the head. But it was still there. It just wouldn't let me pick it.
It was still in the list, you're saying?
It wasn't in the list.
So if you had a bunch of objects, let me just make a bunch. This might slow down everything. Duplicate. So as you make more objects, this list becomes longer. So it might have just been higher up in the list, like at the very top. So you might have to scroll up in there to see it.
Okay.
Also, if you like working with a bunch of subtools, a fast way to switch between them is to just press Alt and then click on the object. So see now how I'm sculpting on Rat Boy, but then if I want to switch over to pants, then I just Alt click on them. Super fast way if you're working with a lot of subtools.
All right.
Keely, I can't believe you referenced the Worthy Kids today. I just found out about them like recently. I was like,
some of my friends like really like them. I'm not like a super huge fan, but I think that I cannot even remember the name. The one with the burger truck.
Oh, Big Top Burger?
Big Top Burger. I think it's very charming.
It is. I'm just impressed that it's like, that's just one dude that makes all those, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's like, he like routinely releases like 6 minutes of animation. It's like,
I know. That's just one dude. How's he do it?
I don't know. He's a titan. A titan of animation.
Oops. Lasso tool. Where are you? Whoops.
So surprisingly, when I did the ascend and then I merged all of them and then exported it and put it in Maya, I could still actually surprisingly move them around separately.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So that might be because of the OBJ file format. It'll come in as like separate shells then basically. But yeah, that's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet.
If I assign some material on my model to, ooh, that turned it purple. Very fun. Oops. I'm all over the map tonight. Like a hair material, is that going to instantly set my computer on fire?
No. Are
There's
you
only
looking
one
at
way to find out.
Are you?
That's true.
Hell yeah, I like that. I like that solution.
Sir, your tauntaun will freeze.
Are you looking at AI hair?
I could be.
That
AI
hair
standard hair.
Yeah. So that one is. It'll look weird if you're applying it to like a shape. Like, so if my character had like just like a block of hair that I kind of sculpted fake hair on, it's gonna look a little bit weird on that sort of surface.
All right.
AI hair is more intended for if you are using something called XGen. Let me pull it up just so you know what I'm talking about. It's super impressive. And it's in Maya. And my computer's going insanely slow. But it basically is a bunch of strands, like individual strands. Then you can see it renders out like that. So it's, this person's like forwarding in, but yeah, so it'll look like that.
Bro, how'd they do that?
That is out of the scope of the class. That is, the way they did that was a lot of time. There's like in big studios, they usually have one artist, like an artist that specifically does what they call the groom, which is like the hair for the characters. So they'll be like a grooming artist. And they'll do like anything from people to wolves to like, yeah, everything with hair. So yeah, it takes a lot of time for sure.
So you're saying if I master that, I can make like a ramen noodles in a bowl?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how it'd look.
Do you want better? Angel hair pasta.
Ramen noodles in the bowl. That was like, oh man. Good old memories.
I opened the render view and I think everything is frozen, so I feel like that's a good sign.
Maybe. I don't know. That doesn't sound very encouraging, but.
Oh, do I have lights? Do I have lights in here? Lights would help.
Yeah, it's always a silly checklist of like, are the lights in the scene? Are the lights intensity up high enough? Are my render setting, like, did I press the play button on the renderer? Is Arnold just being weird and forgetting about my lights? Yeah.
Okay. Hello.
So am I only able to put one like sphere at a time for the eyeball, or is it?
Are you only able to put one sphere at a time?
Yeah. Is there? I know about the mirror tool. Like the.
Yeah, that's so you could do both, right? So I'll show you putting in eyes on my side. So if I did it like this with IMM primitives,
yeah,
and then just drag them right there. They're in the space, right? Like they're in there. And then I could go to because I kind of want to move them, right? But if I use my move topological brush, they're gonna stretch out, right? But the eye is just a regular sphere, right? So I kind of need to move that. So I'll use the move tool instead.
So what was the brush again? You said the I am imperative or like
yeah, it's the same one I was using for that entire presentation.
Okay.
I am primitive, and it basically just lets you draw that sphere on your model.
Is it in the tool brush, or is it?
It'll be over here on your top left.
Yeah.
So brush, and then I am primitive right here.
Oh, okay. Wait, it's like the zipper metal thing, but wait, it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then bone traceable.
But but there's also the append way to do it, right?
Yeah.
And I prefer append because it has more what is it? Precision. It's more precise. But this way works too.
Okay.
Mm.
What are you saying yeah to over there, Keely?
Oh, whoops.
Yeah.
Red highlights.
Red highlights.
It's that simple. The joy of holding my hand over my computer and feeling hot air.
That's so nice, isn't it? If you don't have like hand warmers or gloves or something, you're just like, ah. Imagine how hot the inside of a render farm would be.
A couple times last year, I was thinking about, like, I spend a lot of time, maybe not a lot of time, but every now and then I'll go on a JAG where I read a bunch of stories on the Tales from Tech Support subreddit. And sometimes there are stories about people going like, you know, oh, I closed the door to the server room. And it's like, that's why the system's down, because there's no proper ventilation. I don't know. It's just fun to think about computers like they are creatures.
Yeah, that need like oxygen and stuff like that.
They overheat. They have ways to keep themselves from overheating, but if you really want to make one overheat, you can do it. But you shouldn't.
No, definitely not.
Might be cruel.
My first laptop for college would just always overheat. It was so sad. Well, all right. It is 10 o'clock, my friends. If y'all don't have any other questions for me, I'm going to head out.
All right.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Rodney, you'd also benefit from dynameshing your character. So notice how on the nose, these faces are kind of like really pulled out and stretched, you know? If you just go back into ZBrush, and I'll give you an example right here. So if I pull out my nose, right, similar to your guy, and it's going very slow. So your guy has a bunch of stretched out faces in there, right?
Whoa.
And if we turn on the polyframe, you can see that they're really stretched out compared to this. So if you go to geometry, because I really want you guys to get used to Dynamesh. If you use Dynamesh right here, turn it on again, see how it scans through that again, and we get some nice even geometry that we can sculpt and pull around a lot easier.
Oh, okay. So that's what smooths it out.
Yeah, it's Dynamesh is what does that. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. And what was the one that you said was for clothes again? That you said not to Dynamesh?
1 second. Let me pull this back in. That is Z-Remesh. So I'll show you. I'll leave this polyframe up, and 1 second. Let me Dynamesh
The
this
Rhino
again.
mouse.
So now that they're literally chunked together, so if I just Dynamesh that again, it scans it and makes it even.
Wow.
So now I'm just using my smooth brush to push that back in, and there we go, just move. So now Z-Remesh is a little bit different. You can see all the different poly groups from when I was using those different spheres to put them together. I'm going to save before I do this though. Save as Sculpt. So notice basically this is a kind of talk on topology, right? So right now our topology is kind of running straight up and down and across the mesh. It's not really following the form of it, right? It's not following like the curves of this character. And you have these weird like jagged edges that are flowing into each other. It's bad topology. So Z-Remesh, if I click this, and I'm gonna leave it on same right here, and maybe I'll do half. So if I click Z-Remesh, it's gonna take some time to scan. You can see your progress bar up here. But when it gets done, like keep this poly, look at these polys and keep that in mind. And then once it finishes, see that?
Whoa.
See how it like rescanned the whole model and then also laid out nice quads across everything?
Yeah, wow.
So that's what Z-Remesh does. And so that's the difference between Dynamesh and Z-Remesh. Dynamesh makes it rescans your geometry and gives you polys all over it, like evenly distributed polys. It also remember when after I was making all those primitive shapes, I Dynameshed and it scanned them together. So Dynamesh can really clump things together too. But then Z-Remesh will give you an even distribution of your polys, but also have it follow the curves of the character better. So that's what it's used for primarily.
Wow, that really makes a difference.
Yeah, right. Like it'll make it a lot cleaner.
Thank you.
No problem.
Mike had one problem.
Yeah, what's up?
So when I click my shape for like the head, I have them in layers. It's like all grayed out, or like, and it won't let me like edit it, or is it just?
All right, see you, Rodney. You're saying in this subtool over here?
The subtool, when I click on it, it's like blacked out, or it's like kind of grayed out. I can't like edit it.
Oh, okay. You might have a mask on it. So let me turn this on.
Yeah.
Let me mask the eyes.
Okay.
So does it look like that? Like look at this guy's eyes. Like, do they look like that?
Yeah, they're like really dark, and then
yeah. So do what I do right here. I'm just holding Control, and then I'm bringing my mouse cursor over here, like off the mesh, and then I'm left click dragging like this, and then I'm just letting go in space.
Oh yeah, now it works. Okay.
Nice.
Now it works. Yeah, I know. I was a bit like confused, like what happened there.
Yeah, that's what masking is.
Okay.
That's masking, and it's pretty powerful if you get the hang of it, but it's nothing that y'all need to worry about at this point.
So yeah, I got the head finished. I just need to render it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know the eyeballs don't have to be like fully detailed. I just put them in there.
Yeah, just put them in there. They can be a flat color. I won't mind.
Okay.
I just want you guys getting used to materials.
Yeah.
And knowing that we can plug other things into those material channels to really make some cool stuff.
Okay.
Because that's what texturing is. It's going to be super dope.
I know it's kind of late, but like I might need to rerun how to do the what is it? Frick. What did you call it? The rendering?
Arnold?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Arnold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's kind of late.
I'll hop through it real quick. All right, so I mean, yeah, also I'll upload this video too.
Yeah.
To YouTube, so you can always rewatch
I can always go back and rewatch it. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so if I import my object, you already have your object in Maya, right?
Let me import it. I gotta import it first. Okay. Yep. So I just is it file and then there's or is it
file import?
File. No, so like when I save it, do I have to save it as first or?
Wait, no. So did you export it from ZBrush first or no?
No, I haven't. I need to save it first. So.
Okay, so let me show you how to do that.
Okay.
So I'm in ZBrush over here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna select the one that's my rat right here. It's the rat body.
Hold on, let me see. Oh, so do I have to morph like all of them into one layer, or is it just?
You can do it that way if you want. Yeah.
Okay,
So
I have 3 layers. So one of them is the neck, the other one is the head, and yeah.
Okay, so let me show you how to do that. There's this merge menu down here.
Yeah.
And if we pop that open, just click the top one right here, and then merge down.
And one that says merge down.
Yeah. Merge down right there.
Okay.
And then that'll merge it to the next one in the list.
Oh, okay.
And then just do that multiple times.
Yeah.
And then see, once you have them all in one, you can just go up to export. See you, Keely. No problem.
To export?
Yeah, I see this up here in tool.
Oh, okay. That's where the export is. Okay.
Yeah. So then you'll export, and that should spit out a OBJ.
Or it's it created into like a PM3D sphere 1, or I don't know. That's weird.
That's just like the default name for it.
Yeah, PM3D sphere 3D1. That's weird. Create like a PNG, or I could.
Well, you can save it as type.
Yeah, I can save it as type. Yeah.
Make it an OBJ for sure.
OBJ. Yeah, it's saved. It's saved as type OBJ format.
Yeah, and then you can type whatever file name you want into this little box. So you can name it something else besides PM3D sphere.
All right.
And then let's go over to
I open Maya, right?
Maya, yeah. So now in Maya, oh wait, do you not have Maya open yet?
Let me get Maya opened. I want to see how how well this desktop can run both these programs.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
All right. So now in Maya,
yeah,
we just go to File, Import, and then navigate to that file that you just exported from ZBrush, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty much just like exporting and importing in any other program. Like you can do that with like sounds and like Audacity and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there it is.
Same concept there.
Yeah.
So let me find mine.
Do I need to like scale it or anything, or just?
No, you can just leave it its regular size right there. So I have my rat in the scene now.
Yeah.
And I can go up to Arnold at the top here.
To where?
Arnold at the top right here.
The one next. Oh, I see it. Okay. And then
you can go to lights and create an area light for me.
Okay. So there's like this green box. Is it like?
That's the light. Think about
yeah, like a light source.
Yeah, it's like those box lights that you have on like a photography set, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
And this little stick that's pointing out of it right here, you see this?
Yeah.
That's the direction that the light is going.
Oh, okay.
So point that at your character. And one last step for this light is you're gonna wanna, while it's selected, go to the attribute editor.
Yeah. Sorry, I need to read. Give me a second. Gotta move this. Wait, so the box turned red for some reason. Is that like?
It's because you don't have it selected anymore.
Oh, okay. Like the. Or
see a Raphael.
Yeah. Sorry. Either way, so it goes from red and like click it again. It just goes back to the green arrow and yellow arrow. So
yeah, that's fine. That's exactly what we want. So look at my screen. It's selected right here. Like this is it selected. And then go to your attribute editor. You can always press Control A to bring it up.
Yeah.
And that's on the right side of the screen over here.
Wait, hold on. I don't know, Sorry, I was actually a bit confused how the green thing works.
So when the light is green, it's selected.
Yeah.
When it's red, you don't have it selected anymore.
Okay, and then there's like a blue and yellow arrow. Is it just the way I move?
That's moving. That's the moving things arrows.
So the yellow arrow is where the light source is gonna hit.
No, this little. All right, so that's just your
green thing, right?
That's a little stick that's pointing off of it.
Oh, okay.
Is that what you're looking at? Are like the move controls?
Yeah.
That's just the manipulator that pops up there.
All right.
And Yeah, good luck, Victor. Good luck. Yeah, you might have to contact customer support or something if things go really messy or something, like if it's just really blocking you. Because I don't want you to get blocked up by this. But remember, we're spending most of our time in Zbrush for the next couple classes. So if Maya's really giving you problems, then it might not be the worst, but we will have to fix this problem though for the future.
Yeah, I'll be working on it tonight. Let's see what I can get going. If not, I'll email you and let you know what's going on. If
awesome, yeah, awesome.
Can't fix it tonight, I'll see what's going on with like tech support tomorrow.
Awesome, cool, sounds good.
All right,
Sounds
thanks.
good. See you, man. Good luck.
What did I like these blue lines, or wait, what did I do? There's
all right, Matt, just
yeah.
Just select your light. If it's green, it's selected. You don't have to worry about anything else.
Okay, yeah, I got it. Sorry.
And then you can just go to your attribute editor.
The
attribute editor, it'll be on the right-hand side over here.
Okay. There's display. Sorry, how do I get to that?
It'll be on the right-hand side of the screen over here.
Oh, okay. Sorry, yeah. Yeah.
So that's where the attribute editor is. And do you see intensity and exposure?
Yes.
So click the little numbers next to exposure right here in this little box.
Yeah.
And then enter press 8 to make it an exposure of 8. Okay. So that's going to be a pretty strong light.
Okay.
And then you can make sure that so if you press Q, now you don't have that manipulator on your light anymore, and it'll make it kind of clear where that's pointing. So just make this stick from the light pointing at your model somewhere. That way it's lighting up the model.
Okay. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then let's pop open that Arnold render view. So if we go to Arnold and then open Arnold render view.
Okay.
So now
this is where it takes time, right? Or
yeah, it'll take a little bit after you press this red arrow right here, the start render button. You can see mine is trying to render out this rat.
Yeah, I see it.
Are you able to get that on your side?
Yeah, I see the image. I kind of want to move the light source because I think it's a little bit too dark on the right because I put it to the left.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So
basically, it'll just be a balance between moving this light around the scene and like adjusting the intensity, the exposure, and also that color as well. You know.
Okay. So do I hit the stop thing right now?
Yeah, if you want to, I kind of leave it on so I can see where my light is.
But it does hit the light source, right?
It does make Maya run really slow though. So
okay.
But that's like what I use to like double check my lights.
Okay.
Also, I usually add something for the character to stand on, so I'll make like a plane or a big box or something.
Yeah.
Something so they're just not floating out in black space.
Oh yeah.
And then
you change the color, right? Or is it?
Yeah, you can change the color of the light. It's right above intensity over here.
Yeah.
In this list, so you can make it whatever. You can make it like some red light, and then it'll look like danger or something, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do whatever.
Got it.
The rendering world is your oyster.
Yep. It's funny because I think I remember my friend used to do. A friend of mine actually does Maya a lot.
Oh yeah, nice.
I was actually like confused how he went to that like preview view, and then he was said like, oh yeah, it's something called like Arnold. I was like Arnold. I was curious like why is it named Arnold or something?
Yeah, right. I don't know either. I think that's just like what they called the software.
Yeah.
But yeah, Arnold's so sick. It used to be so hard to render out things in Maya.
Yeah.
Arnold made it nice and simple.
Yeah. And then when I have that rendered view, do I just like, is there a way to print the image, or is it just
So once you have that image rendered out, you can just go to File and then Save Image right here.
Oh.
And then see how it spat out my other renders.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And there you go. That's pretty much it.
All right. Thanks. I got the gist of it.
That's the lights. That's the rendering. Boom, bang.
Yep.
There we go. So any other questions before I head out?
No, that should be it for now.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Have a good one, my dude.
All right. You too.
Beep, 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 beep.